Hey everyone, long time no see. This is Adam Ruff, creator of UX Design Contest, and I'm excited to get the contest going again with Contest 17. And so what I'm planning to do over the next few days is to go through an example entry, kind of show my process, show how I'm going to tackle a project, hopefully teach some things about V0, probably learn a lot of things about V0 and different AI tools and how they can help. And I'll have some fun as we do it. So because I didn't know exactly when I was going to get time to do this, this one's not live. I think in the future, I'll be looking for opportunities to do this live. So we can get questions, people can share stuff. Everything's always better collaborating, as I'm sure you know. So without any further ado, let's dive into this. So I'm at the site now, right? uxdesigncontest.com, Contest 17, partner with AI to build a site or app. I wrote my notes, so I'm not going to read through that. But we see the project brief is to create an impact-driven website or app using AI to do the coding. So basically leaning on an AI partner to be your developer partner, where you have all your ideas, amazing ideas and design that you want to execute, and you're going to use an AI partner to do that. We're going to use a tool called V0 to do that. It's free with daily limits. I'm paying for a version that gives me a little bit longer limits, but I'll do my best to try to time box things and keep it to a more realistic situation. And my goal is to have an awesome pitch video and entry ready in like 4 hours or less. So the first thing I'm going to do is start at the suggested stage, problem or opportunity. So one thing that I used to have in the past, on my personal website, which why am I going to my personal website? I don't actually have that there, was a resource page for designers. So a curated list, a place where I could share the things that I thought were the best or the most helpful for me that I would think would be very helpful for other designers. So I'm going to use that itch and need that I haven't tackled to try to do something really quickly. So my goal is to build a design resources page that I can link to from my personal website. I can link to from UX Design Contest. Yeah, so I think I'll start with my kind of goal in mind is get a page with some, I don't know, maybe I'll try to do like a dozen resources. And then I'll think about if I can pull that off and it looks really good and works really well, I'll try to implement things like searching and filtering and all that good stuff. And I think maybe stretch goal would be to also look at building an admin where it makes it really easy for me to add new resources or potentially outsource and solicit ideas for resources to add to it. So that's what I like to do and start out. And just to let you know where I'm at in terms of this project right now, I've done a couple things. I Google searched resources for UX product designers, and I found a couple that I think are pretty good. This designresource.es, a kind of clever use of domain, has hundreds of sites and tools. And I recognize some Figma, Mobbin, Unsplash, recognize a lot of different things, laws of UX, a lot of cool stuff I've used in the past, as well as some new stuff. I think the dark theme of this is fantastic. It's going to mean that people can find resources night or day without blinding themselves. I think that's a smart decision. It's a very simple site. Like they've got a logo, they've got a name, they've got a one-liner that says what it does, and then they've got a link to the site. So actually, I'm interested in going beyond that and thinking about how I can share tips and tricks or specific use cases for the different resources that I'll recommend, as well as all of these, I think, are just links to sites. I would love to be able to include actual files or things that people could download in my resources. So where I've built something that's been really helpful for myself in the past. I'd like to just give that to folks to this resource. They do have a bunch of filters based on these little tags here, which is kind of cool. The UX is, oh, it's not doing the UX now. Before, when I was doing it, it started scrolling up. Okay, anyways, not to get distracted by that. But yeah, I'd like to have some sort of filtering. They also have the ability to search. I don't think it's super robust though. For example, if I say vector-based design, no, I think it's maybe just looking at the title. What's something else I can say? Fonts. Yeah, so I see some things that don't have font in it, so I don't really know where it's coming from. Anyway, I haven't tried doing anything like search or filtering with V0 before, so this is one source of inspiration that I'll draw upon. And then I also found this one, resources for designer. I guess it's only for one designer. I don't know where the S went. Maybe that domain wasn't available. Kind of funny. But unlike the other one, this one, when you click on it, you kind of dive in and get more information, which I think is nice. Although I think the pattern of going to another page is totally ridiculous. And the only way I've found to go back to the experience is hitting the browser back button, which to me is like a clear opportunity for improvement. So I'd love to combine some of the ideas from these as well as the things I have myself and try to crank this out. So let's go ahead and get started. Now, in V0, I just actually, before I started recording, I clicked on this thing to create a new project. I've never used a project before. I've just had these different chat conversations, but I'm going to go ahead and set up a project. So UX Design Contest 17, example entry. Oh, I hit the limit. Okay, let's simplify this. So one nice pattern as they're thinking about this is if there's a limit, like it's nice to get a countdown or something to know that you're going to hit a limit soon. But this is fine. It was very obvious that I hit the limit. There we go. Adam Ruff's example entry for UX design content. I'm expecting this one has a lot higher character count limit. He's building a curated list of resources for designers, including links and file downloads. And he's leveraging AI to do the building. Cool. Context, interesting. Description and context in case you need both. That's interesting. I kind of think about those things as basically the same thing, but guidelines or instructions. Oh, interesting. Actually, let me go back into that. How do I get back into that now? Guidelines or instructions the model will use to generate better responses to prompts. This project is in dark. This project should be built in a dark mode so that users won't go blind trying to use it in a dark environment. I don't know if that's helpful. Let's just try it. Okay, so here's the part where I'm going to, oh, interesting, no chats. Ask a question. I'm a little confused because I've never used a project before. I've only used chat. So let me see what happens. To get started, create a new chat in this project. Okay. Okay, so this is in the project. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want to build a curated. I want to build a landing page, or I want to build a site that features a curated list of resources for UX product designers. The list will include both links to external sites and files for users to download. For inspiration, layout, what else do I want to do? I want to really go deep on this first one to try to set up kind of everything I'm trying to do. In terms of functionality, I want a card-based layout where with one resource being highlighted per card. I want the ability to add an image like a favicon, or maybe I just say what shape the image is in. I want the ability to add an image to the card. I want, maybe I should say what the card has. This is getting into like adding, and that's the admin stuff. Let's see. Cards should have the following content: an image, a title, a brief description, a tag that will, one or more tags, 1+ tags that will be used to support filtering. Yeah, that's good for cards. Users should be able to tap on a card to trigger the card to grow into a floating modal, or maybe just trigger it first. Well, let's try this. To go into a floating modal that contains tips and tricks from my experience with the resource. The page, the site should support filtering by tag. The site should support filtering by keyword. Looking into the title, description, and tips and tricks. Let's maybe start there. If you have any more questions to help you deliver an awesome first pass, let's say excellent first pass, please ask away. Otherwise, if you're confident you have enough for the first pass, let's see what you can do. All right. So I'm writing, I wrote the prompt, submitted it. Now V0 is looking at it. And before I start coding, they want to ask some questions. So one of the things I've really enjoyed about this is it starts to feel like a conversation that you have with developers. So I almost feel like there's so many benefits from this process. It's thinking in a very structured way about what's the functionality, what's the design details that you want, and using language to communicate those, and then being able to have conversation with an engineer in quotes to get stuff done. So let's see here. I'm sorry, the text is so small. It's probably hard for y'all to read. I apologize. I wasn't on the ball for that. So I'll fix that. So hopefully now this is easier to read. Yeah, let's make it real big. Apologies for that. Okay, so how many resources do you want to display initially? This will help determine the initial grid layout. That's fantastic. So let's say, I think I'm shooting for a dozen. So let's start with 12 resources. 2, do you have any specific color scheme? Okay, standard, dark, palette using Tailwind colors is fine. Filtering system, do you want to allow multiple tag selections or just one at a time? Great question. If it's going to make it easier, maybe we just start with both. Let's just start with the ability for multiple tag selections so that we don't have to redo it when we scale. For the filtering system, I just read that one. Number 4, question 4, should the keyword search be instant as the user types or triggered by a search button? Ooh, that's really good. Instant, please. And 5, let me just scroll. Do you want to include any sorting options such as alphabetical or by date added? Ooh, nice. Another nice question. Let's say alphabetical is not particularly helpful because I think the idea is that people won't know what the list of resources are, right? This is a curated list. People don't know what I think are good resources. Date added, that might be interesting. Nice question. Let's add date added or let's just add, nice question. Let's actually not do that. Let's display with only a default sort order of date added. No need to call this out in the UI. Okay, let's submit that and see what happens next. Vero's thinking they're creating a first pass. So now it already started coding. Look at it go. So fast. Oh, it's actually filling in some information too. It's giving me some sample data. How nice is that? What did it pick? Interesting. It picked some, user testing. One of my first jobs. That's fun. Optimal Workshop, Hotjar, Zeppelin. So it's doing a bunch of content stuff. When it comes to polishing the content, I actually plan to use a different AI tool to do that. Okay, so it looks like it has some challenges executing on dark mode. It looks like these dark mode values are not working super great. And these cards are ginormous. Is that only because I have things zoomed in? Let me see. Yes. Okay. So got it. That's just a factor of my zoom. At 100%, they're putting 3 cards in a row and making that. Okay, so we've got some issues, right? There's like very subtle hover state for the. That's kind of cool. Okay, so it's got the modal, so it's got some functionality. Figma tips and tricks. Do auto layout, utilize components. Nice. Did it do these for all these? Sketch over, simple overrides. Repeat grid. Well, it's actually done a little bit of tips and trick stuff on it. That's pretty cool. It's also created some tags. Now I can't read the tags, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to open Tailwind UI. Actually, no, Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS. Docs. Let's go to colors. Color. Okay, cool. So I don't know what color scheme it's using. Let's see here. If I had to guess, it looks more slate-like. So a few things I want to do. Let's use gray. Let's use Tailwinds gray. And hopefully I'm speaking this, so it doesn't matter that it's small text. We'll find out. You let me know in the comments if it's super annoying that you can't see what I'm typing. I wish there was a way to feature request for V0, make it easy to zoom in or set the font size. And maybe I actually can do this. Let's see. I'm just looking to see if there's any way. Settings. Nope. I don't see it. No, but I can turn it to dark. There we go. Sorry, I don't see any way I can just make the font larger. So let me do my best to just speak aloud what I'm doing. Okay, let's use Tailwind gray color ramp instead of slate. And let's fix a few things. Now I'm going to take a screenshot of this. And let me see what's the easiest way to do this. And figure out a way where I can get into figuring out, let's use this account. Great. Create new design file. Okay, so here's what I'm dealing with. And let's see, do I have my... Cool, I should have all the Tailwind colors. So basically what I can do is I'm just going to go very quickly and look at what colors I want. So I'm going to create some text. This is tag. And I'm going to fill that gray, I don't know, 700. What happened then? Gray, 700. Oh, gray. There we go. So I'm really just looking for the colors here to make sure the colors match. And let's look at maybe that's not bright enough. That looks reasonably good. Let's see if I can go one darker. For the tags, I'm going to explore those. Let's compare the colors there. I mean, honestly, maybe this is the default and this is the hover state. That might be cool. So I think I can probably, let's try creating an image of this and seeing if the AI tool can handle that. So this is going to be a default. Hover. I'm going to round the corners just because I'm scared that if I show it straight corners, that it's going to misinterpret that that's something I want as well. And then I'm going to add a pressed state. Going to clip content to make sure I can use my favorite pattern, which is putting some like light or dark inside border. In this case, we'll go darker. Let's go 32. Cool. So this is pressed, active pressed. And then I'm also probably, I don't know, I can't read these. So once I have it changed this, then we should be able to see as far as the title goes. Let's have, I actually just need to put text on this. So like Adobe XD, which, does it even exist? Did they kill that off? There we go. So I'll have to be gray 50. I know that. The other buttons, these really bright buttons, maybe these could be something a little simpler. Tips and tricks. Just kind of seeing how that maps up. Let's have these be a little bit more bold. I think that makes sense. The higher contrast directionally is good. And let's make this be that. There we go. So how about this for tips and tricks? Default, hover, active. I'm just going to copy the same, basically the same styles. Now, where did my... Oh, I know. I have to clip. There we go. Now I see it. Great. Okay, so let's use that style, and I'm going to try to use the image. So I have a couple of things. I have tags and buttons. Let's just focus on that first. Let me add a label. Default. I'm just going to set this up as an auto layout. Also, I should be keeping track of the time. I forget what time I started. I'm going to keep this default, hover, active. Great. I want to use the same, almost the same style, but slightly different. Excuse me. Maybe because the tags appear have a fully rounded radius, maybe I do that here as well. So let's just try that. There we go. And this is tag filters. Go. And this is card button, tag filter, card button. Yes. Let's pull in this one. Pull in all of these here. And then hopefully this is like, just like it is with people and developers and saying like, here's what I'm looking for, rather than just describing it in words. We'll see how this works. Okay, so I've got these two things, and I'm going to create this in a little section. Cool. And I'm going to copy it as an image, and then I'm going to jump back to my chat, fix a couple dark mode things. A few, actually, right? I have more than two. Okay, let's fix a few dark mode things. One, follow the image guidance to update default, hover, and active state styling for the tag filter buttons and the card buttons that trigger the modal. 2, well, that's actually 1 and 2. Update the card title color to gray 50. All right, let's see how it handles that. The one thing I wish, another thing I wish V0 would do a better job of is like auto scrolling. So usually it like starts working and then I have to scroll down. So, what's it doing now? It hasn't talked at all, but it's going through and boom, interesting. Okay, let's see. Did I get my hover states? No, I didn't get the hover states I want. When I press, it's doing something. That's cool. Oh, that's nice. These toggle on and off. It's a little weird because the border disappears. So maybe we should make sure we add a border so there's no layout wiggling. The view tips from tricks button is horrible. It totally got worse. But that's okay. We'll fix that. And let's just see what happens. Wow, look at that. Like all this functionality. Let's find something collaborative. Look at that. Pretty powerful, right? I mean, already like looking pretty good in terms of functionality. And I've just started, I don't know how long I've been going for. Let's try to wrap up in the next 10 minutes. Let's go ahead and then maybe the next pass I'll focus on doing some context. Let's actually look at the tags that generated and see which ones I want to keep. So let's see, tool. Let's make some, I'll just make this, I'll make this big. Let's see, I'll hide this and I'll make this big so we can see. Let's make some changes to the tags. To the tag system, to the tags available. Oh, but now I can't see anything. It is going to be a little bit more challenging. I need to take a new screenshot. All right, bear with me. Reset. Whoops, how do I get my thing? How do I get the code open again? Code, where did you go? Nope, that's that sidebar. Interesting. All right, now I'm stuck. Please open the code preview window. I closed it and don't know how to open it back up. Maybe it'll tell me how to toggle it on or off. Oh. Okay. Oh my goodness. Look at all the stuff it's doing. It's like telling me how to use it. There should be a preview tab or button somewhere in the interface, typically near the right top corner. I've got share. I've got rename, favorite, and delete. Okay, maybe I just have to ask it to do something. So that's really annoying. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Yeah. I've got like the Meet, the Google Meet thing. That's super annoying. Okay, so let's change design tools to tools. I'm hoping it's going to open the window again. I'm pretty sure it will. Yeah, there we go. So bad that it lets you collapse something without expanding. Okay, collaboration. Let's add. We have a Mac OS thing. That's interesting. Let's remove Mac OS. Tools is not really that helpful either, right? It's like prototyping. What's the job to be done? I think focusing on the jobs. Let's remove Mac OS and update the system, the content design strategy. Let's update the content design strategy to focus on critical UX product designer jobs to be done, like prototyping, brainstorming, researching, usability testing, maybe just use all ing. It seems like so much work. Actually, I'm going against this. Prototype, document, present. I think the present tense. This is what I'm missing. Brainstorm, translate, test, get feedback, collaborate. Okay, let's try this. So again, I don't think I'm going to be able to effectively do the whole zooming of the text. So apologies. To go. It's nice that it has this structured content resources such that I can easily edit that myself, I think, which is pretty amazing. Maybe I'll actually think about how to do that using another tool. Okay, we've got updates. Nice. Prototype, collaborate, prototype, share. Okay, let's fix this issue bugging me with the tag filter buttons. When selected, they lose a border and the layout shifts. Let's make sure both selected and unselected states have a border so the width doesn't change at all. Also, let's display a message. Sorry, no resources like that found, with a sad face emoji when the filter returns 0 results. 0 cards. Results. Okay, give it two more little jobs to do. In general, I try to I found it to work better by not giving it too many jobs to do, because I feel like it doesn't do as good of a job, or it's more likely to forget something. Okay, so I think it's done now. It did its second flash. Oh, but now there's no selected state. Ugh, that's such a bummer. Now I don't know what the combination is. Okay, well, now we need a reset button. Thanks, but you broke the visual affordance of the selected state for tag buttons. Please use background of, let's go to our Figma thing. So we want to have a border. I'm going to add gray 600, border of gray 600, background of gray 800. Say that. Gray 800 and border gray 600 when the tag filter is selected. Also, let's add an icon button to reset the filter selection. Let's have to do those two things. See how we get, because heck if I know what combination I pressed. Visio says it's going to fix the visual affordance and add a reset button. So I don't see a reset button, but maybe it only happens once I select. Haha. Okay, great. Now it failed to show the filter state, which is frustrating, but you can go in and, I can go in and change all this stuff if I want. So let's see what's going on here. Selected tag. I don't exactly know how to read this. So what's going on here? Active. Hover. Background. Okay. Hover, the background changes. Active, the background changes. Okay, let's go back to the preview. So what I'm not seeing is selected tags includes default outline. Interesting. So that is default. It's not as straightforward to me. Selected tag length, blah, 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 button. Someone's going to be looking at this and like, oh, it's so easy. On-click toggle tag, yes, great. But this is the default, right? Because that's default. Has question, default, and then colon outline. So this is the styling for default, and this is the style for when it's outlining, and that's getting toggled. But so what I can do here, what's missing is selected. It doesn't seem to have a selected state. It's still missing a visual affordance for the selected and default state. That should use those colors I mentioned. Gray 800 for background and gray 600 for border. Also, the reset filters button breaks the layout. How about we just add the X icon to the right? That also shifts the layout. add it in line to the end of the filter list, filter tag list. All right, after this, we'll see. We'll give it one more shot at doing that. Then I'm going to try to fix the button quickly. And then we'll wrap up for today, which is, I already feel like I'm almost like almost done. I really just want to kind of get in and tweak a few things. And it may come to a point where it's it's faster and easier to tweak the actual CSS styles themselves. And one thing I can do is I can grab the code and copy it and then paste it in the chat and say, like, here's what I want to do. How should I change this code? So maybe I can have it teach me how to do what I want to do. It's going through. Okay, I think it's done. Whoop, nope, did that flash. Now it's done. Now I lost the border. It's not great, right? So what I will do is I will grab the portion of the code where I think it's important, this one. I know I'm not doing what I said I'm doing. This looks like the code for the tag. How can I specify the colors I want for default, hover, active states when the button is toggled on, and those same states, and for those same states when the button is toggled off. Thinking, okay, to specify different colors for the default hover and active states when the button is toggled off, you can use Tailwind class more explicitly. Here's how you can modify the code to achieve this. Okay, so that's all default. Got it. So it's basically just calling those things out. So it is selected. So the first one is toggled on. The second one is toggled off. Maybe what I'll change is I'll change from default. Okay, so great. Let's make those changes and change the code to variant selected. Oh, I see. It's a button element. I selected more stuff than I needed to. It's just a special kind of button. Oh no. Previous code remains unchanged. Hopefully it was just shortcutting that and not actually doing that. We'll find out. Error, resources not defined. Okay, let's fix. Resources is not defined. It's kind of nice. You can just tell it to fix its own bug. It looks like it was an issue when it said like the other code is unchanged. It seems like that broke things potentially. Building. How come there's only 3 resources now? And all the functionality broke too. Oof. Okay, so the nice thing though is I had a working version at some point, right? So it looks like V7. It's nice to have this history. So V7 worked, V8 was buggy, V9 is also buggy. Oh, maybe not. I take that back. Something that's different. Yeah, share. Okay, it's not buggy. They just all have prototype, and I happen to pick that one. I see. You're setting the filters is in line. Great. Collab. Vector. Great. Okay, cool. I don't know why the list, what happened with the list. We've only got 3 things. Add more resources here. That's fine. Maybe we'll just keep it for now. And we'll fix one more thing. Let's look at the button styling for resources. Those are the tags. And then we've got this button. Okay, so the background, what do I want the background to be? 600, 800 hover. Okay. 600, where am I? That's to reset filters. Now I'm looking for the card. The card has a button. Here's the button. So it's going to be 600. And it's going to be 800. Active is going to be 800. And it's going to have, how do you do inside border? Let's see if I can find that real quick. Tailwind, CSS, inside border. Or inner box shadow, really is maybe what it is. Inner shadow, right? Shadow inner. Okay, class shadow inner. How do you do a custom? Shadow inner will give you this. Let's just use class shadow inner on it for now. I can tweak it later. I lost where I am. Active. We'll have background gray. Let's replace the border with shadow. I'm going to paste. I think I have it copied. A shadow inner. Great. Let's try that. Let's actually add those to the other ones too. Active. Oh, that's interesting. You have to have active, I think, like that. And then I actually erased the border thing. I see. The border is something that just exists on its own. But did I have any border in my little? I don't think so. So let's remove that. Active, inner shadow inner. Okay, and then I'll take this whole thing and copy this for the reset button. And we'll copy for the tag button as well. And let's save this. And now if I preview it, wait a minute, what text? Oh, the text color is not fixed. Let me get rid of the border. Aha, now I've got some better visualization there. So I think I can polish this up real quick now. So going back to the tag button, I want the same border. That's interesting. It has border gray 700, 600. Border gray 600. I'll try that. Hover active. And let's change the button down here. Where am I at? Button. View tips and tricks. What's this dialog? Oh, that's the content window. And I forgot, what am I doing? I'm removing the border. Or maybe I'll just have the border gray. Make it the same color, border gray 600. And then I need the text gray 50. Let's try this. Save. Oh, hover changes now. And hover has a border. But okay, I'm getting this. I think I'm gonna stop as soon as I change this one. So text gray, background gray, border gray, tips and tricks. Maybe just remove. If I remove the border, what happens? I don't know if it's going to give me some default border or not. Yeah, it gives you a default border. Okay, so can I undo that? Let's do border gray 600, hover border gray 800, active gray, active border gray 800. Okay, now I'm expecting to see the border being gone. We need a different, the text for going on. All right, I'm not gonna spend any more time. You can see me monkeying with this. You can see that I'm just up here. Just need to fix my colors. I think this is probably what I need to do is I just need to lay exactly everything out in Figma so I know exactly what the colors are, and then I'll translate those over. So it's a great stopping point. I basically need to have some content, and I've already got things set up to be like a working site. So this is amazing and fantastic, and I can do all the polishing I want later. Next time around, let's dive into the content. We'll get some images going for some of the different resources, and I'll have my list of resources and use some AI tools to help me add some tips and tricks and some context. So until then, happy designing. Bye, y'all.